Hey folks, Thom Rainer here. I am so incredibly enthused that Belay is the founding sponsor of the Church Answers podcast. We've always had a great relationship with Belay, and now we have the opportunity to work with them even more closely in this brand new Church Answers podcast. Now, I'm going to say a few things about Belay, but I want you to hear this personally from me, from Thom Rainer. I have used Belay for many, many years. In fact, I even used them before they were called Belay. I'm not going to give you the other name of their company before then. And what I mean is we have found these type of workers to be incredibly effective, incredibly relational, and Belay takes care of everything. You need an executive assistant, and they'll provide it for you. You need a bookkeeper, they'll provide it. They become a member of your team in many ways, but Belay is doing all of the heavy lifting. You know, many of you leaders, there's a moment in your personal and professional life where you realize that you may be in your own way. You know, you need help. Let Belay come in. Delegating it to them. It may seem intimidating, especially if you don't know how they can do so. You don't have to worry about reading every email, scheduling every call, responding to every request. You have more time, more energy to work on the things that move the business forward, and you can achieve your big goals, both personally and professionally. So I want to just say with a loud acclamation, welcome, Belay. And let me just encourage you. You've got to get this resource. You've got to get this resource. It's free. And it's called Delegate to Elevate. You pastors and leaders and business leaders, incredible resource to talk about how to do delegation. Here's how you get it. It's in the show notes, but belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer, ThomRainer. So start trusting your team more. Stop diluting your efforts. Empower yourself to courageously focus on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. In no time, you'll do what you're supposed to do. Lead your church effectively, or if you're in a business, growing your business. Once again, we welcome Belay as the founding sponsor. And once again, get that downloadable at belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer. Billy Graham was definitely one of the heroes of the faith in my lifetime. The opportunity to get to know him, and again, I don't want to overstate it. Please hear me. I wasn't close friends with Billy Graham. I did not visit him often, so I don't want to make a claim to something that was not there, but I did visit him some. In fact, my last visit, Nellie Jo and I visited him on his mountain home in North Carolina, not too long before his death. And that was some precious time together. But I don't want to overstate my relationship with Billy Graham because many people had much closer relationships with him, but I was connected to him in many ways too. Billy Graham approved the school where I was the founding dean, the Billy Graham School of Missions Evangelism at Church Growth, to be the first academic graduate school to have his name. There was Billy Graham School at Wheaton, but this was the first graduate school to have his name, Billy Graham Center at Wheaton. So, you know, we had that connection, and he was excited that a school was being started for evangelism and mission. So we did have that connection. I am typically an annual speaker at the Billy Graham Cove, the conference center, and most of the time it's once a year. On occasion, I've done twice a year, and so I have that connection. And usually, in every one of those times, I am with one of Billy Graham's children and get to have time with them. I've been with Billy Graham right before he preached a crusade, specifically in Louisville, Kentucky. So I visited him. I've been with him before he went out to preach, and I have connections with him, several connections where he has allowed his name to be connected with something that I was doing. But again, I know I'm being redundant. I don't want to make a claim that we were best buds because we weren't, but I certainly admired him. The few times that I did visit him, I did learn something. I mean, he is not the kind of man that is just prone to start talking and to be chatty about himself. I want you to know the first comment he made each of the times that I visited him, and it was not pretentious. It was not self-effacing. He said, "It's an honor to be with you again, Thom." Every time he said that, it just kind of blew my mind. You are saying it's an honor for me to be with you and you to be with me? No, 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 Mr. Graham. I'm the one who is honored. I'm the one who is just really head over heels about the fact that I'm getting to spend this time with you. But that's how he started each of the conversations, except for the time that he was preparing to go preach at the Louisville Crusade, and it was just a quick hello. So that's one of the ways I remembered him. So what are the two huge lessons that I've learned from Billy Graham? There's so many. Books have been written on it. Dissertations have been produced. Oh my goodness, Billy Graham has been studied from before the Los Angeles Crusade of the late 40s to this very moment. There have been so many things. I've had students, PhD students, who did work on Billy Graham. So, I mean, every facet of him. So this is more personal. This is just something that Thom Rainer took from the visit. And that's not nearly as important, I know, as what others would do, but it's what I took from the visit. The first thing that I learned from Billy Graham, number one, was humility. I guess that was self-evident by the way that I commented on how he greeted us. It is an honor to be with you. It is an honor to see you, Thom. Again, if you were there, you would know that there was no pretense. That was not just a line that he said in order to make people feel at ease. He meant it. Billy Graham did not think too highly of himself. In the cases where there have been a few critics, I'm not going to even address those, because if we look at our own lives and where we've done things right and where we haven't done, my goodness, I wouldn't stand the test of time. And just thank God for the forgiveness of our Lord Jesus Christ. But his humility, and this is a man that's was used by God that we all will have to say was in an enormous way. And I understand God can use people who are not known like Billy Graham. He can use people, and Billy Graham would say it. He would say, I'm going to be last in line when I go see the Savior. He said, there are going to be many people who are not known on earth who are so much more committed to Christ than I was. But there was that humility. And to be with him when I walked away gave me that sense of, hey, if Billy Graham is humble, what's the next degree of humility that I need to have? Well, my comparison to humility really shouldn't be with Billy Graham. It should be with Christ, who humbled himself even unto death on a cross, Paul wrote to the church at Philippi. So Billy Graham was just being Christ-like. And I shouldn't say that my goal was to be Billy Graham-like. My goal was to be Christ-like as Billy Graham was when I would meet with him. So I learned about humility. He did not want to talk about himself. He wanted to listen. He wanted to find out how you were doing. And my wife, Nellie Jo, was there, and he addressed her with the same amount of attention as he did me. A humble man, even though known around the world, met with presidents and kings, and the list could go on, but he was humble. Second lesson I learned from Billy Graham, humor. It was subtle. It was not jokester. It was always appropriate. But by the time I had spent several minutes with him, you would catch that subtle humor. The twinkle in his eye, the smile on his face. I don't have a lot of specifics because he didn't tell jokes as such. He just talked about things, and in that he would have humor. And I just love to listen to him and to wait for that moment where he would say something that would just make me totally off guard because I didn't expect it to come from him. A lesson I learned is there's a good time for humor, not all the time. There's a time to laugh, and there's a time to cry. And he taught me that even this man who was struggling with Parkinson's, when I saw him toward the end of his life, and in the last meeting I had with him, he could not even get out of bed. This man still had a sense of humor, healthy, godly humor. Now I'm going to give you a bonus. The two things I learned from him were humility and humor, but I'm just going to throw this in as a bonus. One thing that he said, there was a picture of his late wife, Ruth, at the end of his bed. And he pointed to her at that and he said, I miss her. I'll be glad when I see her again. This man loved his family. He will admit that he was not a perfect father or a perfect husband, but he loved his family. So that is the bonus that I just want to throw in there. But what did I learn from Billy Graham? Lessons of humility and humor. But I've also got to say, Billy Graham loved his family. Hey, we're releasing 3 podcasts this week, like we did last week, in this inaugural editions of the Church Answers podcast, 3 at a time. You can listen to all 3, you can listen to 1, but they all come to you every week. Continue to listen to us at the Church Answers podcast. See you later. Thom Rainer back with you. Before we leave this podcast, to just thank again Belay for being the founding sponsor of the Church Answers podcast. Hear me very well. I said it at the beginning. I'm going to say it at the end. We have used Belay at Church Answers for several years. We've had incredible workers that they have sent us, and Belay takes care of everything. They take care of paying them. They take care of all of the what would be paperwork now, e-work. They take care of it all, and you are free to do the things that you need to be doing as a pastor, as a business leader. So go to Belay. Go to belaysolutions.com and do this. Go to belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer. That's ThomRainer. When you go to Thom Rainer, don't forget the H in Tom. And get this download. It is incredible. Delegate to elevate. I can just promise you with this download, you'll get new insights of how to free yourself to do the things you love to do the most. Thank you, Belay. Thank you for being who you are. Go to that download, belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer, ThomRainer.